And welcome to Juneau. It's the capital of Alaska, but also home to the Mendenhall Glacier, one of the most accessible glaciers in the world. And we're here to prove it to you.
We're going to be back on time. Okay, this trip is great because you can access the glacier. It's the only trip in southeast Alaska that you can access by the glacier by trail and actually get out with crampons, ice axe, helmet and stuff and actually trek around and learn how to ice climb in a reasonable amount of time. It's great because, again, for families, they have short period, maybe shorter amounts of time to spend in Juneau. This trip is about 6 hours round trip, and it's, we cater to all ages and abilities because we can go at your own pace.
So let's come clean right off the bat. If you're going to hike the Mendenhall Glacier, you can't help but notice one overriding feature. What's with all the rain?
The rain, well, we live in the Tongass National Rainforest, and the Tongass National Rainforest, it's a temperate rainforest, and it encompasses about 17 million acres, and it's one of the largest temperate rainforests in the world, and it's just incredible. I mean, it does rain a lot here. It rains about 100 inches a year, but it's what makes this place so pristine and magical, and it's so green. I mean, you walk through the forest, and the number one comment I get from people are, wow, this is a very dense, green forest with lots of mosses, again, just because we have so much rainfall. But what's great about the rain is it actually creates our glaciers, because when it's raining down here at lower elevation, it's snowing up high in our ice field, and it's that snow that accumulates year-round that creates our glaciers that we have now, and that's one of the reasons we're able to trek out there. We're standing right now in the Tongass National Rainforest, and you can see that it's definitely a different understory than you would find in other areas of a rainforest. It's one of the largest ones in the U.S., and it's about 17 million acres. And what happens is, this is all glaciated terrain. So basically, the Mendenhall Glacier used to be here at one point, and it's melted back, and it's exposed barren rock. Well, the first things to come up in a forest is mosses and lichens, and then you have your deciduous trees like alders and willows, and then you have your conifers, so you get spruce and hemlock. So this is basically, we're kind of walking through a history book. We're walking back in time. Walking closer will become more barren land because it's a newer landscape, because the glacier, just until probably the middle to late 1700s just started melting back. So this is pretty new forest.
I didn't realize how green and full of life the woods were. You see them from far off, you don't realize how much is going on inside, and we are walking along, and everything was so quiet and peaceful, the greenness is what struck me.
Everything is green in this forest, from the rocks to the rivers. Even the fallen and dead trees are green.
As a glacier melts back, there's not much soil here, and so you had also asked how things are falling down, and that's the reason, because there's nothing for them to really grasp onto, and so the roots are they spread out, and this whole understory is really thin of soil. So it takes a pretty special type of, flora and fauna to grow here and live.
You're starting out and you've got all these evergreens, and then as you progress further in, you get to a younger tree, younger life. So yeah, it's kind of fun venturing through there.
After about a 45-minute hike through the forest, you arrive at the midpoint, where Mendenhall finally reveals itself.
So this point is that point out there. So you can see in the 1970s, this is what the glacier looked like. And it's melted back. So there was actually ice that was coming down right over this chunk of rock outcrop. And this was I think this picture was taken in the 70s. And so it's definitely melting back pretty drastically. In fact, the average that the Mendenhall retreats, it used to retreat about 30 to 50 feet a year, but now latest data is showing it's retreating up to 600 feet a year. Oh, wow. So significant changes. And I know, living out here, I see every day that when we go to the Mendenhall how much it melts back. I mean, a place that I get on with clients and access the glacier can be completely different 2 days later, because it melts back so fast. So, but and also at the same time, a glacier is advancing. So it's always advancing every single day, but it's melting off faster than it's advancing. And so that's how you get a retreating glacier, and that's why you see so much loss of ice on the Mendenhall.
This is nice. It's comfortable. You're not too hot, not too cold. It's a little strenuous, so it's adds that little bit of workout in there. So, I don't know. I couldn't imagine anywhere else I'd rather be hiking.
So one thing that's great about this trail is that we do see wildlife, and one of the things that we could run into is a beaver. There's actually a beaver house down the ways as we're walking around the lake. You'll see it from a distance, and you can see that they're basically chewing down these trees and building their homes from it. And it's pretty cool, the whole process. You'll see lots of trees broken down along the trail. And so beaver are one thing, and we can also run into mountain goats up on the mountainside. So really look out. You have to look in the distance. They're kind of hard to spot, but big white specks out on the mountainside that are moving around. And then we can also run into, there's lots of birds and possibly black bear. We always want to be, aware that black bear are in the area, but it's not as frequent that we see them on this specific trail, just because there's not a lot for them to feed on.
It's pretty safe, you keep an eye on the kids, and everyone sticks together, so there's not that much a problem. You don't have to worry so much about wildlife. I mean, it's always, it's constantly there, but as long as you're just wise and, don't dangle the stake around your neck, so to speak. But